Yo, what's good? Now we are on part five of the how I trade. So let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about entries. Okay. So if you remember, if I could find my okay. If you remember, I said in step 4 we wait for price to show it wants to move in step 1. So it wants to move in the same trend. And then direction could be a fake out or a price building a lower time frame structure. Okay, let's talk about entries. So what do you need to know about entries? Entries are important, not as important as market structure, but they're very important because if you get the wrong entry, but the bias is right and everything, you got the direction right, but you get a wrong entry, you could get stopped out and you'll miss out on the move. And I'll show you some examples of that. So entries have to be precise. Okay. As for my entries, I take them on a 5-minute time frame. Okay. And what did I mean by when price builds lower time frame structure? Question mark. Or yeah, lower time frame structure and or a fake out as an indication. So before I'm about to take a trade, I want to see a fake out or I want to see lower time frame structure, or if I see both, that's even better. So my entries have to be precise because I'm on a 5-minute. 5-minute can easily fake you out, but when you have all the structure tied into it and everything makes sense, then it will be all good. So let's go on the chart. Let's talk about some entries. Also, having a good entry will force you to be patient because if market doesn't show you what you want to know, then it'll force you to stay out. Like, for example, today I looked at the market. Let's look what happened. So where did we open? Right here. Right? No, that was yesterday. Right here. So I knew let's get rid of all this. Okay. We look on a daily. We're still on the uptrend, right? Okay, price is holding this level, and then the previous high was right here. That's why I had that marked out. So if price could have stayed above there, we would have seen buys. Okay. Buys above this level are still valid, but why would I not take buys? Because look, let's follow our highs and lows. So we got a high right here, a low right here. Okay. And when I saw the market open and it closed right here, guess what happened? Price broke structure to the downside because this was a high, this was a high, this was a low. Okay. Price was making higher highs. Then it broke below that low and closed. So that told me right here, this is a break of structure as we went through with yesterday. Why I didn't take an entry? Because price just broke structure. I knew that it could either test this level or this one all the way up here in order to pull back to go lower. So that's why I'm saying I knew that, so it forced me to be patient. So I didn't take a trade today. And I'll show you another example on another thing, but look. What did price do? It's doing exactly what we thought. Now it closed above this level, so it's going to test this level. And the only way I would take buys is if it broke structure again, back to the upside, and above here. It has to be above here. It has to break structure, back to the upside. So this was the break of structure, indicating that we were shifted structure, but that doesn't mean we're going to take sells right away. We always need a pullback, so that's why we have to be patient, and then we could take an entry. Okay, let's see ES. What did ES do? Okay, I explained this on my Snap story. I only have a couple people on there, but if you look, what did price do? Price broke structure right here. This right here is our break of structure, indicating uptrend is over, guys. Now we're waiting for a pullback to sell. Okay, so the reason I didn't get in anything today, because everything looked bullish and the 4-hour structure is bearish. And remember, my strategy is trading off of 4-hour structure. I could have took a buy off this 1 hour, but remember, this would be considered a counter trend trade. So it forced me to stay away and not take an entry. You got to know when to trade, or no, it's more important to know when not to trade. We knew not to trade right here because it's just pulling back. And if you look at the NASDAQ, it's the same thing. I could have caught this sell, but look, it wouldn't even pay that much. I'm not catching the whole move. Now that price pulled back to here, the sell looks way more valid. Okay? Gold, same thing. Price was in a range. This is where we opened. Over here, 9 a.m. Price broke out of that range, but remember, we were on the downtrend. Then it's, oh yeah, wait, I'm not even on a 4-hour. Price is now broken structure to the upside. I was waiting to take a sell, but again, price did not have a valid pullback. So you need to know that, hey, okay, if market breaks structure, it's not just going to tank immediately. You have to wait to take that entry. You have to wait for a pullback to a major level, then take an entry. That'll help you a lot in the long run. But let's go over another entry I took. Let's see an example of an entry I took that was a little early. You want to be precise with your entries. So here's 3 things of why I took this entry right here. It was a valid entry, but I got stopped out for break even. It could have been better. There's always room to learn. Even for me, with my 5 years in, there's room for me to learn every day. So I'm looking at this chart, and remember how I told you about ranges? We went over this. This was a range. Price broke out of that range, pulled back, boom, closed above a major daily level, which was like right here. Yeah. And then guess what? I took entry. It would have been nice. But what I learned is, hey, I should have waited for a pullback to that major level. Let's go back and replay. Yeah, let's go back and replay over here. Where this happened. Okay. I'm looking at the market right here. Bro, this shit bugging. I'm looking at the market right here where I'm about to take an entry. And price is high on volume. I knew that it could push higher above this level because it was a daily level, I believe. Yeah, it was a daily level. Remember, we're marking out our highs. This daily level, price pushed above, and I was like, okay, that strong volume indicates we're probably going to push higher. And it did. And I was up a 1-to-1, but that's when whenever I'm up 1-to-1, I set my stop loss to break even. And a quick tip, I'm going to go over this more in further videos. 1-to-1 means I'm risking, like, let's say 100 to make 100, or 1 apple to make 1 apple. I usually go 1 apple to make 2 apples. So we'll go over that more in another video, but my entry would have been more precise if I waited for this pullback to this area, which was also a previous structure high. This would have been clean. I would have not had drawdown. I would have been able to catch this trade. And I learned from it. Your entries are not always going to be perfect, bro. Let's go over back to some other entries. Just give you more examples. Okay, I took ES a couple days before it right here. Why was this entry a little too early? Well, it was valid because I didn't get stopped out. But why did I take the entry right here? Over here, oh, I could just do this. Over here, we're looking at price. Yeah, just gave it away. Over here, we're looking at price, break and retest right here. We knew structure was bullish on a 4-hour. This was before this candle, by the way. And remember, it broke out of this range and pulled back. So we have our indication. We knew that it was bullish. We just wanted to see some sort of bullish indication. Price fell back below this level, and it showed us, hey, we want to start creating higher highs. Once I saw this rejection, this was also a level, I believe, on a 4-hour. I think this was this level. I might be wrong. Yeah, that was that level. So we knew that 4-hour level was right there. and price started pushing up. That's why I took it. Well, how could my entry have been better? If I would have waited for structure to pull back. See how I almost got stopped out? This right here was a fake out. It would have almost stopped me out if my stop wasn't so wide. And the trade still was valid, but I learned that, hey, I need to be a little more patient, because that's where patience plays a role. The reason I took this entry was because I was watching the market from open. Price pushed up, touched this level, pulled back very strong. And this was at 4-hour level. Remember, I'm waiting for candle closures. I waited for the 4-hour to close. 4-hour closed above the level. And then 4-hour closed above the level right here. And then it pulled back. And it told me, hey, above this level, if price pushes above this level, it's probably going to rip. And what did price do? It did. Now, your entries don't have to be the cleanest. And this is a perfect example. But you just need to know when to take an entry. When, like I said right here, the reason I took it right here on the 5-minute was because of this level. Price held above this level. It did pull back to this level on my entry. Once I saw it pull back and pushed up, that's when I was in. But a lot of times the candle will close at the level and then push up. So that's what I'm working on right now. You know, you're not always going to be perfect, but you just want to be precise. Like right here, if I were to take an entry, let's say that the structure is bullish on a 4-hour, everything. Price was in, or actually, matter of fact, let's go to another trade I took. Let's go to US 30. When was this? No, it was NQ whenever it dropped, I believe. Let's exit replay, leave. Yeah, right here. Let's go back to right here. Remember how we went over this? Why did I take this entry? Because price was at this major level. Remember where we marked out our highs and lows? Price was at this major level. It rejected at this major level. Remember what I said about fake outs? This down here was a level. We went over that. And then this up here was a level and it got rejected. Not only did it fake out right here, but I waited for structure. Remember, I'm looking at the 5-minute and I want it to show lower lows because I was looking for sells. So I'm looking at this and then boom, right here, I saw it tried to push above the level, failed again. That told me, hey, price is not ready to push higher. So the amount I'm risking was like right here, and I targeted the low because, hey, price rejected this level multiple times. It closed below the level, remind you, on that 4-hour. So that told me, hey, if price touches this level, it rejects again, it's probably going to sell off after testing this level over and over. It shows that price clearly does not want to go higher. Therefore, it is a clean entry and it was perfect, precise. And this is how you catch good entries from the top. Because remember, this was the top of the move I caught. I didn't hold it till down here, but I caught the top because of what I know. And whenever you see price is shifting in the direction that you think of, look for signs like this. The fake out. Price tried again, and then it rejected this level. And it closed below on a 4-hour. That's why I said in the other video, you need multiple confirmations. I had 3-4 confirmations to take this trade, and that's why it worked out. So the biggest thing you want for entries is you want to watch the market. If it's pulling back, be patient, bro. Don't just jump to action. Wait till it tests that level, like I have on the sheet. Wait till it tests the level. Wait for price to show it wants to move in your direction. Wait till it gives a fake out. Wait till it builds lower time frame structure. We got the fake out. That was our indication. We also knew price tried. Once you see things like that, it all makes sense. The market's like a puzzle. And when you take a trade, the pieces come together. Okay? That's all I got for y'all. This is how I take my entries. I'll show more examples as I take more trades. Today I did not trade because look at this mumbo jumbo, bro. Because I knew we needed a pullback on the 4-hour. Imagine if I traded this. Last episode was consolidation. And I avoided that. Why did I avoid that? Because I knew price, for one, broke structure to the downside. Two, I knew that we needed a pullback. We got the pullback. Now we have the pullback. But we didn't have that during market open. That's why I stayed away. I kept my hands behind my back. Because I'm like, bro, nothing is probable right here. What comes down must come up in order to come back down again. Same goes for buys, vice versa. So understand that. Understand when to be patient and when to take action. You'll see it more and more you watch the market. That's it, bro. I'll see y'all tomorrow.